Everyone who discovers Bazi for the first time ends up asking pretty much the same 15 questions. So in this video, I'm going to answer them for you straight, simple, and without the heavy jargon so you can finally understand what Bazi really is and how it can guide your decisions in life, career, and business. But before we dig in, let me say a quick hello. Nice to meet you. My name is Pauline Cheng and I'm a Bazi and Feng Shui practitioner. I use this art to empower, not to disempower, to give you clarity, strategy, and confidence instead of fear. Now, here's a little bit about me. I didn't start in metaphysics like most people. My first career was in communications, and later I became a live broadcast producer in motorsports. That meant working with high stakes stories told live to millions every second mattered. And that's why I see Bazi not just as numbers and charts, but literally as a story, specifically your story. Every day master, every pillar, every cycle has a narrative. And once you understand that, then you can control the plot. So if you ever wondered things like, can Bazi predict my future? What career is best for me? Stay with me. Chances are the questions on your mind might just be one of the 15 I'm about to answer. So let's start with the most basic question. What is Bazi really? Is it just fortune telling? Bazi is one of the systems of metaphysics developed in ancient China back when, men wore long flowing robes and had hair to match. Okay, so on the surface, sure, it looks a bit like a fortune telling, but in truth, Bazi is a tool for self-understanding. If humans came with a user manual, Bazi would be it. It's a blueprint of your tendencies, your timing, and your opportunities. I like to think of Bazi as the OG version of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Seriously, CBT is built on one simple idea. Your thoughts create your feelings drive your behavior. Change your thoughts, change your life. So with Bazi, it's the same pattern. The energy of your natal chart influences your feelings drive your behavior. If you redirect the energy, you can change your life. So why do I say redirect instead of change? Because we can't change your Bazi chart, we can change how you use that energy. Okay, so next question, number 2. How do I get my Bazi chart? Okay, in the old days, plotting a Bazi chart was done by hand using something called the 10,000-year calendar, and is yay thick. Not kidding. These days, you've got tons of free online Bazi plotters. Just Google and pick one. Do I have a preference? Of course I do. I like the ones from Joey Yap's Mastery Academy, but that's my bias, okay? Because that's where I studied. So now, what do you need to plot your Bazi chart? Only two things. Number 1, your gender, and number 2, your date and time of birth in the Western calendar. Okay, the Gregorian calendar. So if your passport says you were born on, let's say, September 6, 1999, then use that date. Don't go converting it to the lunar calendar, okay? The Chinese actually run two calendars at the same time. The lunar one is mostly for festivals. Most Chinese metaphysics systems, including Bazi, uses the solar calendar. So, and then comes the next question. Do I need to convert to China time or solar time or what time? Now, this is where schools differ. Some say yes, some say no. For students from the JY Mastery Academy, we don't do conversions. Yeah, it has its detractors, it has its pros, but here's a simple way to look at it, okay? Imagine you are born on September 6, 1999 at 11:30 p.m. in California. And if you convert that to Asia time, then it becomes September 7th at 2 p.m. But let me ask you this. When someone asks you, hey, when's your birthday? Do you say September 6th or September 7th? Exactly, lo. So by affinity, your chart is September 11:30 p.m. So that's the chart you're supposed to have. But again, different schools, different rules. That's what frustrates many beginners. Some say convert, some say don't. How? So, how to choose? Affinity. Work with the practitioner you resonate with. That's all that matters. To convert or not, leave it to that practitioner to decide. Okay, if you already resonate to him or her, the things that he say will be able to help you. You understand? Okay, question number 3. Okay, the 4 pillars. What are the 4 pillars and the 8 characters? Well, the 4 pillars and 8 characters form the basic structure of a Bazi chart. Okay, so here's an example plotted using the online tool from the Day Mastery Academy, of course. Okay, so you notice there are 4 columns: 1, 2, 3, 4. We call them pillars. Each has 2 characters inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Add together becomes 8. So that's literally what Bazi means. 8 characters. Bazi. Okay. So now each pillar represents a different area of your life. Your industry, the year represents the industry, social circle, distant relatives, even your ancestors, your grandparents. Month pillar represents your business and career. I like to call it your workaday life. Okay, and the day pillar represents your closest relationships, especially the intimate ones. And the hour pillar represents shows your legacy, your mindset, ideas, children, staff, and these days, very important, your investments. So in a Bazi consult, depending on your question, we will look at the relevant pillar. If something's happening in the month pillar, if you're asking about career or business, then we're looking at what's going on in the month pillar. Okay, but let me explain this in a more modern way. Okay, now think of the 4 pillars as different identities that we all carry with us. Year pillar is the social identity, how you present yourself to the world. The month pillar is the work identity. So in this, how you present yourself at work. Any changes to the month pillar represents a change to the work identity. So you could be job change, new roles, promotions, stuff like that. So that's a change to your work identity. Day pillar represents the private identity, who you really are to those closest to you, who have seen you with your hair or with your bed hair, who have seen you when you are sick. Okay, that's for that. And the hour pillar represents the aspirational identity, who you're working to become, the legacy you want to leave behind. Does that make better sense for you? Okay, more modern way of interpreting. Okay, next question, number 4. What's my day master? What does it say about me? In Bazi, there are 10 day masters. Okay, 10, 10, 10. Okay, so think of them as the 10 base personality archetypes, the main character around which your entire Bazi chart's story is told. For example, a Jiawut day master is like a tall tree, grounded, rooted, practical, a bit blunt because trees tend to grow straight, sometimes a bit of a blockhead. A Yiwood Day Master is like a soft plant, flexible, adaptable, charming, but sometimes a bit spineless because like flowers swaying in the wind. Okay, a Pink Fire Day Master is like the sun, routine driven, consistent, reliable. Here's how to spot a Pink Fire. If they love a food, they'll eat it every day, no complaints. Okay, so you get the idea. Each Day Master carries traits of its elements, whether it's trees or mountains like Wu Earth, or precious jewels like sin metal, or rivers and raindrops, which is Ren and Kui water. But here's the thing, not every plant grows flowers, not every tree grows straight. So, how much of these traits you really embody depends on the makeup of the full chart. Okay, but all the 10 day masters will certainly carry some of these core traits within them. So, one of the easiest ways to maximize your Bazi is to lean into your day master's natural strength. If you're a Yi Wood, for instance, get good at networking, because that's exactly what Yiwood does, and it does it really well. Okay, and hey, if you'd like for me to go deeper into all the 10 day masters one by one, let me know in the comments. If there's enough interest, I'll create a whole series for that. Okay, so next question, number 5. Number 5, what are the 5 elements? They're the foundation of every Chinese metaphysics system. They are the building blocks for every Chinese metaphysics system. At the core, 5 elements represent the laws of nature, the way energy moves, transforms, and cycles. If you think about it, Water nourishes wood, wood feeds fire, fire leaves behind ash, which becomes earth. Dig into the earth and you find metal, and cool metal creates space for water to condense again. Okay, but here's the thing, because of the English translation, the word five elements make us think that they are five blocks of stuff that you can stack on the shelf behind you. Okay, they're not actually. They are five phases of energy that is constantly rising, peaking, stabilizing, and falling, the same rhythm that everything in life goes through. So your Bazi chart is built primarily from these five elements, which one is strongest, which one is weaker, and they represent your core energy patterns, the drivers behind your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior. So may I ask you this, are you the highly intelligent but emotional moody type? Are you growth driven, passion fueled, rock solid stable, or an action taker who can't sit still? Okay, even at just the elemental level, your chart is already telling stories. And once you know how to listen, those stories turn into strategy. Now, I know I sound a bit like lecturer Pauline here. What can I say? I really respect this art a lot, but don't worry, we'll try to keep it real, and I'll throw in a couple of jokes every now and then. Okay. Anywho, let's move on. Question number 6. What are the 10 gods? How do they affect me? Well, the 10 gods are the 10 deities that you have to build an altar for. Make it a big one because there's 10 of them, and pray to every single day. Okay, just kidding. Okay, don't misquote me on that one. Okay, so now if you look at this sample chart, right? Okay, apart from the day master, okay, the Bazi chart is full of other characters or other elements, right? Even if you don't read Chinese, you can tell they look different, right? Okay, well, I mean, okay, this one looks a bit the same as this one. Okay, but they're different. The 10 gods are simply the roles played by these different characters in your chart. Who decides their role? The day master does. But it's not random, yeah. The day master can't just suka assign jobs, So there are rules on to how the interactions work. So bottom line, the 10 gods represent 10 types of abilities or talents inside your chart. Which talent shows up clearly to the world? Which ones are hidden? And just as telling, which one are completely missing? Okay, that tells us a story as well. So that's the 10 gods. How does it affect you? Simple. When you train those talents that you already have, you become more valuable. And when you become more valuable, life gets better. Okay, so let's move on. Question number 7. Okay, what are favorable and or unfavorable elements? Okay, and first of all, they're not really about good or bad. Just think of them like food for your body. Your favorable element is like the nutrition your chart needs more of. Eat more of it, you feel healthier, stronger, more balanced. Your unfavorable element, that's like the food your body already has too much of. A little bit more is fine, but too much, it throws you off balance. So in a Bazi reading, we're not judging you, okay? We're just identifying what your energy system needs more of and what it needs less of. Okay, so here's a simple example. If you're already fiery, more fire will make you overheat. Then the engine will overheat. Okay, the radiator will dry out. Okay, so add some water. Suddenly you cool down and you function better. That's it, really. Okay, so favorable means your chart benefits from it. Unfavorable means that your chart already has plenty. So no need for more. Go easy. Okay, so how do you know what's yours? Short answer. You can't just Google it and hope for the best. It's not about the zodiac sign or your day master alone. We have to look at the whole chart. The balance between all five elements, the strength of your day master, how the elements interact. Think of it like a doctor running a blood test. You don't just look at one number, right? You look at the whole panel to see what's high, what's low, what's out of balance. Same with Bazi. A trained practitioner studies your chart to identify what you need more of and what you already have too much of. Okay, and here's the part that often trips people up. You If you ask 5 practitioners, you might get 5 slightly different answers. Why? Because different practitioners from different schools will use different methods or different frameworks. So which one is the right answer then? Okay, you're getting confused again. Okay, so the one that resonates with you viscerally. If an explanation hits you in the gut, it feels like your lived reality, that's the one you go with. Okay, so next, what are luck pillars? Think of them as chapters of your life. Each luck pillar covers 10 years, and each chapter brings a different set of circumstances and opportunities. Some chapters are pleasant, some are, let's just say, more challenging. But nice or not, you still have to live through the decade, right? So if you look at this chart here, okay, the row of columns directly beneath the main chart, these are called the luck pillars. Okay, so fun fact, the sequence of these pillars is determined by gender. That's why Bazi is a gendered system. And also, here's why the luck pillar matters. Whatever strategy we recommend from your chart, whether it's career, business, or investments, we will always anchor it to the luck pillar as well. Okay, and the one that's upcoming, because that's the landscape that you're currently walking through. Okay, and also another last point would be Bazi is actually brilliant for long-term strategy. If you're asking what should I do right now, this week, this day, this very minute, then Chimandunja is actually is usually a better tool because it's more immediate. Okay, but for decade by decade game plans, oh, Bazi is the champion. Okay, so next, number 9. What are the annual stars? How do they affect me? Every year, the zodiac animal of the year brings along its own set of stars. Think of them like guest energies that come to visit your chart for 12 months. Some stars bring opportunities, some stars bring challenges. Some shift your focus to different parts of your life. Then they're not permanent, they're just temporary influence that interact with your chart for that year. Okay. And also interesting is that where it lands, which pillar it lands in, also tells us a story. If they show up in your year pillar, then the opportunities or the challenges or the changes may play out in your industry, social circle, or your wider network. If they show up in your month pillar here, it could be career or business, day pillar relationships, hour pillar mindset, children, staff, okay, or also investments. So, how do the annual stars affect you? They're like the weather forecast for the year. They don't change who you are, but they do change the environment somewhat. Okay, if it's sunny, we expand. If it's stormy, we bring an umbrella. Okay, and always pay attention to which part of the chart they are in because that's where the story of the year unfolds. Okay, next, what can Bazi tell about a person's career and wealth? In other words, what you're really asking is, when will I be rich, right? Okay, now there are many ways to approach career and wealth in a Bazi chart. And yes, I'll be honest, some charts do find it easier to become wealthy, but for the rest of us, and that's definitely me, maybe you, okay, it's going to take a bit of good old-fashioned elbow grease. Okay, so here's how Bazi actually helps. Number 1, industries. Bazi can point out industries that offer you the highest returns, or alternatively, which ones feel more comfortable but maybe don't pay as much. The choice is yours. Number 2, career fit. Also shows the kind of work or business that suits your natural energy. If someone's chart is risk averse and conservative, we can't tell them to go run a gambling den. Want to stress die the poor fellow man, right? Okay, so I'm sorry, okay, exaggerating a bit, but you get the point, right? Number 3, work environment. A highly creative person, for example, will find a rigid, rule-bound corporate ladder with no free expression, literally soul-sucking. Okay. And number 4, wealth skills. Bazi can highlight the skills you need to build lasting wealth. Maybe it's financial literacy. Maybe it's changing inherited attitudes towards money. Maybe it's learning to monetize your creativity. So, bottom line, different charts, different routes to wealth. There's no one size fits all. Bazi simply shows you the most strategic road you can take. Next, how can Bazi help with relationships and marriage? Here's the funny thing. People usually ask this question right before they are about to get hitched. Which I know why. I know why. They're looking for validation for their decision. But to me, feels a little counterproductive. If you already love Gao Gao, why check now? You already decided. Okay. So here's how Bazi actually helps. It gives you a clearer understanding of each other, how you both operate, the differences, what each of you wants from a relationship, how to support one another, where your approaches to money or responsibilities or parenting might clash. And yes, who's most likely to win in an argument? Okay, so is there a way to check synastry? Synastry? Of course, yes. But again, if the wedding venue is already booked, what's the point? At that stage, the better question is how do we make this relationship work better for both of us? And what if you're single? Now that's where Patsu can help as well. It can tell you what kind of partner you're likely drawn to, when opportunities to meet them are stronger, and even where those opportunities might show up in your life. So yes, Patsu can definitely help with relationships, but please, don't come to me for relationship consults unless both of you are willing to show up together. I don't do third party readings. That's a firm rule. Okay. Why? Because relationships are about two people, not one reading on another person's chart. If you want me to read your partnership, both partners must be present at the same time. Otherwise, no deal. Okay. So whether you're already partnered or searching, Bazi isn't about judging good or bad matches. It's about helping you navigate relationships with more clarity and less guesswork. Number 12. Can Bazi predict my future? This sounds like a simple question, but the answer is layered. Okay. Short answer is yes, but not in the crystal ball way you might imagine. Okay. Here's why. Every one of us will go through three big challenges in our lives. And during those challenge points, the decisions we make, the actions we take, will determine our trajectory. Bazi helps us spot those crisis points ahead of time so that we can prepare strategy. Now, in the past, Bazi predictions were often more accurate. Why? Because as much as 50 years ago, people's lives didn't change that much. Many were born into circumstances that they couldn't easily break out of. So a chart could certainly, at that point, predict their life path with fewer surprises. Today, life moves faster. Technology, globalization, shifting economies, our choices and opportunities can change overnight, which is why in my practice, I tend to shy away from hard predictions because why lock you into your chart? Whole point of Bazi reading is to transcend the chart, to use it as a strategy, as a blueprint, not a life sentence. Okay, and with that, let's move on to question 13 because it's related. Can I change my Bazi destiny? Yes and no. No, because this natal chart is yours forever. But if you change how you respond to the chart, then what happens is you transcend it. Every Bazi chart carries lessons we need to learn. When you become aware of those tendencies and you're willing to do the shadow work required, you change who you are. And because you have changed, your life changes with you. But if you don't change, then you stay a prisoner of the chart. That's why I say transcend it. Here's how I see it. Let me share. I recently read Mindhunter by FBI profiler John Douglas. He's like the OG of Criminal Minds, okay? Though although not so glam, he doesn't have a jet, okay? But one line from his book struck me. From the crime scene, what they do, the profilers extrapolate behavior and therefore the personality of the unsub. Same with Bazi. From the energy patterns of the chart, we extrapolate the personality and life experience of the person. and if we can redirect that energy to serve your goals, then yes, your destiny will change. Okay, now I'll just give you an example. This is actually October's chart. Okay, I'm using it as an example. Right, so you have this big dog and dragon clash here. Okay, by itself, this entire chart is a strong and hardy chart. Okay, stubborn as well. Okay, so life won't be easy. But when this person, this skunk metal day master levels up, they can attain great power. But the clash also reveals a tendency to make themselves small, to kill their own dreams, to live by other people's yardsticks. But what if they stop doing that? What if they stop letting their parents' outdated ideas or a spouse's self-serving beliefs dictate their path? Then the full power of the chart comes alive. But I know it's easier said than done. If you have absorbed society's expectations all your life, peeling them off is painful. Damn, bloody painful. But what if you could? What if you could? So now, if Bazi at this point is starting to intrigue you and you want to learn more, well, I've got an invitation for you. This right here is my newly launched Bazi Blueprint course. Okay, and it's a self-paced online video course, and it basically teaches Bazi at a consultant level, consultant grade level. So when I created this course, I was very clear about who I want to serve. I want to help people learn Bazi so that they are able to create either a career pivot or create a thriving second income stream by becoming Bazi consultants. So that's the core target audience. Of course, enthusiasts are welcome too, but just know that throughout the lesson in Bazi Blueprint, I talk to you like I'm talking to a fellow consultant. And I can say this with confidence because I've done thousands of consults over the past, 5 to 7 years. Okay, I've seen what works and what doesn't. So what I've done is I've distilled it all into a system that you can use straight away. And because my learning years were not that far behind me, okay, I also know where students often struggle. Why? Because I've been there, done that. Okay, so the typical student struggles are: number one, Bazi is layered. Many students get stuck because they can't see how the pieces stack. In this course, let me show you the content. Every module is a layer. So as you progress from one module to the next, the layers keeps increasing and building up layer by layer, from the 4 pillars, 5 to the 5 elements, the 10 stems, 12 branches, useful God, 5, blah, blah, blah. They're all layers. Okay. So this is the full content. Actually, this is not the full content of the course because as I progress, I keep adding more modules. Okay. I never charge extra. Okay. Now, number two, Bazi students online often feel isolated. Nowhere to practice the lingo with, no one to discuss their questions with. So Bazi Blueprint comes with a monthly group coaching call where we meet as let me just show you monthly live group coaching calls for 1 year. Okay, so basically it's a chance for all of us to come together as a community, practice together, and yes, talk a little smack about Bazi. And number three, Bazi is highly visual, so most students will tend to struggle with that. And therefore, in the module as well, I have actually created a visualization aid, sort of, to try to help you with the visual thinking that Bazi demands. Okay, so now by the end of this course, my goal is that you will not just understand Bazi, but also able to read charts with confidence, give strategic consults, and even start monetizing your skills, whether as a side hustle or a career pivot. Most people will start as a side hustle first. So this course gives you the foundation to build from. Now the full course is valued at 2,997, but for the first cohort, I've gone slightly crazy. The early bird price is only 997 US dollars. The offer ends September 24th. After that, the price goes up. I may be crazy, but I don't stay crazy for long. Okay, so you get 1 year access. Okay, because I actually want you to use the material. Some interested students have asked, why not lifetime? 1 year gives you that additional push so that you actually get serious, not just pay for something. I don't want you to pay for something and let it sit there. Okay, so now let's address two common objections. Okay, but meantime, if you have any question, you can email me here. Okay, number one, why so cheap? Okay, because I'm building my first cohort. That's the answer. Okay, number two, why so expensive? Because I'm teaching you a skill you can monetize in the future. It's a platform for your next level. Okay, so if you're interested to learn more, let me just flip my screen to show you where the QR code is. Just give me a second. So if you're interested to learn more, then what you can do is you can just scan the QR code right here. Okay, and or else the link is also in the video descriptions. Okay, if you're interested, if you have more questions that I haven't answered, by all means, please email me. I'll do my best to answer all your questions. Now, moving on, two more. Okay, how is Bazi different from Feng Shui? A lot of people get confused. Okay, so to answer that, I need to introduce the trinity of heaven, earth, and man. So heaven represents what's given to us. We got no say in it. It's our base template. That's Bazi. Bazi is heaven luck. Okay. Earth represents our environment. This is where Feng Shui lives. Can't change your chart, but can you change where you live or how you set up your space? Of course. Okay. So Feng Shui is about how you interact with your environment. And man, actually human, represents choices we make and actions we take, how we respond to heaven and earth. And yes, we have to take responsibility here. If you do wealth activations in your home, that doesn't mean you can just sit back with your arms crossed and wait. Okay, you still gotta work. Okay, so when these three, heaven, earth, and man, come together in harmony, like ebony and ivory, then that's when opportunities will start to flow for that person. Life gets better. Okay, and last but not least, why is Bazi so complex? Because it is multiple layers, many moving parts. Bazi is a map of a person's internal psyche, and let's be real, you, my friend, are complex. And that's why Bazi is complex. That's it. It is. It has to be complex because humans are complex. Okay, so that wraps up the top 15 questions about Bazi. I hope you enjoyed this sharing as much as I enjoyed making it. If you've got more questions, drop them in the comments. I do read them and I do answer. Okay, and hey, if you want more, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Okay, the algorithm needs some love too. All right, so until I see you in the next video, have a wonderful day ahead.